Do you know why bulldogs are called bulldogs? Well, because they were originally bred to fight bulls in the old English sport of bullbaiting. Bullbaiting is now very illegal as it was a really horrible sport that usually ended in tears. Bulldogs were bred to have large heads so they'd be better at fighting bulls. Let's have a look at more interesting facts about bulldogs, but before that I wish you to like the video and subscribe the channel. Number 1. Bulldogs were almost disappeared. When bullbaiting was made illegal in 1835, people stopped breeding bulldogs. This almost led to all the bulldogs dying out, but thankfully some bulldog fans carried on looking after them and kept the breed going. Because they no longer had to fight bulls, they stopped being bred for their ferocity and strength, and they were bred to be gentle instead. And now they're the soppy things we know and love today. Number 2. They're rubbish at swimming. Most dogs can swim, but bulldogs are one of the few that can't, or at least shouldn't risk it. Bulldogs have giant heads and quite stubby back legs, which makes it very hard to keep their head above water. Bulldogs can be heavy too. Some might be able to paddle for short distances, but it's always safer to keep them out of deep water. Number 3. They're known as the Churchill Dog. Bulldogs are often compared to Winston Churchill, Britain's leader during WW2. This is because both Churchill and bulldogs are said to symbolize Britain's bravery and determination. Churchill did also look a bit like a bulldog, with his wrinkly big head. Despite these things, Churchill actually never owned a bulldog, and was in fact a big fan of poodles. Number 4. They're also quite presidential. Churchill might be famous for bulldogs, but actually 2 American presidents were fans of these pooches. Presidents Warren Harding and Calvin Coolidge both owned them, and named them Oh Boy and Boston Beans. Number 5. Bulldogs are popular mascots. Lots of American sports teams also have bulldogs as their mascots. And 39 universities have a bulldog as their mascot too, which actually makes bulldogs the most popular university mascot in the USA. These include very prestigious places like Princeton and Yale. Again, this is probably to do with them being related to bravery, but they also look pretty funny as a big bulldog costume too. Number 6. They like a good road trip. A bulldog was one of the first living things to go on a big American road trip. Dr. Horatio Nelson Jackson set off on the first drive across America in an automobile in 1903 and was accompanied by his loyal bulldog named Bud. Number 7. A bulldog holds a Guinness World Record. And no, not for fighting bulls, being cute, or being wrinkly, it's actually something you wouldn't expect. Skateboarding. Otto the skateboarding bulldog broke the Guinness World Record for longest human tunnel traveled through by a skateboarding dog. The talented doggo scooted under the legs of 30 people in Lima in 2015. Number 8. They have really big heads. You might guess this just by looking at them, but really bulldogs have absolutely massive heads. They're so big from being inbred for so long that actually they can cause bulldogs a lot of problems. In fact, the vast majority of bulldogs are born by cesarean section, because their heads are too big to be born naturally. Number 9. They're very independent. More so than many dogs, bulldogs are very capable when it comes to looking after themselves. They can happily be left alone for a little while and are much better at solving problems on their own than many dog breeds are. This may well be a result of their fighting history. Number 10. They're wrinkly for a reason. A bulldog's wrinkles don't just look cool. Back in the day they served an important purpose. When bulldogs were bred for bullfighting, the wrinkles actually helped protect their eyes. And even though none of them fight bulls anymore, their wrinkliness is one of their most well-loved features. This wrinkliness has been preserved by dog breeders, and even made even wrinklier.